fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Regular viewers of our weekly video forecast for New Jersey, Delaware Bay always let me know about things that they see in the background. If I'm on the beach, they might see some birds working in the back, or I'm out on the boat and say, oh, I just saw a swirl. Well, if you were watching last week's video forecast, around the 7-minute mark, we had a critic, a dog, taking a dump on my forecast. Actually, after the forecast, and then we did the fishing reports this weekend for the November edition of the Fisherman magazine, which is out now, I thought the report last week was pretty accurate. Thought it was spot on. Jim Hutchinson, New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. Is it me? Or maybe it's just a Jersey thing. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. We're all in this together. New York anglers, PA anglers coming out, Delaware. We're all sharing those same waters. Yet I saw where the experts at bestlife.com this week voted New Jersey the most hated of all the United States. We're number one. I'll take it. Besides, I got to think that it's probably from the striper folks, because when the stripers leave other areas, everybody hates New Jersey when the stripers arrive. And I do believe, I can tell you firsthand knowledge, that those stripers have arrived. And I know that because I was out on Raritan Bay middle of this week with some good friends. Jerry Gomber from Tsunami Tackle, Captain Al Ristori, Bass Hound Tom Lynch. We were out with Captain Erwin Heinrich of Scales and Tails out of Twin Lights Marinas. Twin Lights Marina up there in the Highlands. And yeah, we found stripers in Raritan Bay where they've been. They're rolling on bunker. They're out in front of Staten Island Great Kills. They're in the back. They're all over the place. You go out and find the fleet, you'll find the fish. But we decided to nose out front to see what we could find, and we found the mother lode. The bass on the bunker outside of Sandy Hook all the way down into Seabright and probably beyond. The fishery is blowing up. It's on. We were throwing the swim shads, metal lips, the spooks and top waters, the poppers up top. Yes, live lining, no doubt. That's the way to go. That's probably your most effective way. Cast net yourself a live well full of bunker, or snag, re-rig, and drop. Snag and drop is a thing of the past. Starting in 2021, of course, we are going to go to all circle hooks with natural bait. So if we're working on bunker schools, you have to rig with a circle hook. You might as well get started now. Snag, re-rig, and drop. But it is starting. It's all starting. Keep in mind, if you're using those snag rigs or you're using trebles, there aren't a lot of keepers in this mix. Imagine how strange that is. Because we had no slots, we had no unders. We had fish up to 49 inches this week. So yeah, those big fish are here. So Mojos, Tony Majas, the spoons down inside the line, maybe the Shrewsbury Rocks, all the way down into Ocean County. My dad, I talked to him this week. He was up trolling off of Lavalette, didn't have the action that we had. And inshore, close to the beach too. Acres of tailing bunker getting busted, precariously close to a massacre up in Sandy Hook this week because those fish were so close to getting those bunker pinned in against the beaches. And I hope to see that again this month. What year was it? Was it 2016, the Thanksgiving Day massacre in Seaside? Things are shaping up to be just like that. And based on what I saw this week, it's finally the start of good things to come. So as you're finding those bunker schools, and if you're not snagging and dropping, you're not live lining, you're not trolling around the edges, you might want to throw some swim shads, because that's one of the ways that we find so much fun and very effective as well. Talk to Jerry Gomber, Tsunami Tackle, about swimming those swim shads. Here are a couple of tips.
You can use artificial successfully, especially if you've got something that actually matches the forage that the fish are working on right now. That would be swim shads, matching the profile and action and swimming movement of a bunker. This is a Tsunami Extra HD, heavy duty, deep drop swim shad that's 6.5 inches long. And the thing about it is that it's heavier than a typical shad of this length. Casts further, casts easier. Once it hits the water, it sinks faster, so it'll get down below the edge of a school and get down where the predators are just milling around waiting to make their next attack. Built with a very heavy-duty sharp hook right out of the package. And I think today we got about 10 fish on them. So that, paid off. And it was not necessarily running and gunning, but we were chasing schools of bunker, and they were being beaten up badly by some pretty big striped bass. I think the smallest one was in the 30s. Swim shads are probably the best way to go right now if you're going to be using artificials, especially if you don't want to get into the trolling mode, but bunker spoons are working great right now too. Cast to the edge of the school and just simply let it drop as if it's a wounded bait trying to, escape from where the predators are. Typically the bass will come up, attack the school of bait, and then get down below it. And then you'll be getting down there with these heavy shads. The other thing is to cast into the edge of the school of bait, and a slow, steady retrieve of a properly sized swim shad will get you more attention than just letting the bait jiggle around the edge of the school.
Now, working those bunker schools, it's not as easy as you would think. It's actually an art form all its own. And when you're doing it, you obviously want to be courteous to others who are already on the bunker schools. You want to be careful on how you fish them. Of course, very conscientious not to sound the bunker, not racing up on them. But for more tips, consulted with Captain Irwin. He's a professional. He's got to figure out how to do this. Here's some tips on working those bunker schools with Captain Irwin Heinrich.
I like to watch, I like to look at the bunker school, approach it from an up-tide position, so if I'm going to drift into them, I can without running into them. I use my electronics as I approach the school. I'm also watching the school, see what kind of shape it's in, what kind of movement I'm seeing on the bunker, and I'm using my electronics as I approach to see if the fish are actually in the school or just surrounding the school or on one side or the other. Work the top, the bottom, all the water column, various types of lures, try to get those fish to bite. If there's a couple of boats already on the school, I let those boats have it and find another school. Try to get off by yourself. It's always a little better to pick off your own fish as opposed to barging in on somebody else or just waiting your turn. The bunker and the bass they don't like the boat noise, and there's always more than one school someplace. They're not far. If the first one that you come upon is crowded, go a little further or find another one. 2 strokes and 4 strokes, a world of difference. And I'm not even going to talk about the diesel boats. So that's a whole nother animal, especially if you're fishing at 15 or 20 foot to shallow range. That boat noise can be really detrimental to catching some fish.
So you got the full moon, Saturday, October 31st, Halloween. Blue moon, it's our second full moon of the month of October before we go into November. And of course, a lot of folks always plan all of their striper fishing around those lunar cycles. So hopefully on the other side of this full moon, with what I've seen this week, we're definitely into it. Now, I could give you the no weather forecast. Why bother? It's not worth it. Or as Bobby Matthews at Fisherman's Den in Belmar told me this week, quote, "This weather is killing us." But he did let us know that in Shark River Inlet, in the Shark River itself, there are a lot of winter flounder being caught. So that's something for you to do. If you want to just go set up along the bulkhead, stop in and check with Bobby at Fisherman's Den, get some of that information. He did say, of course, that most of the striper activity reported out of the Shark River area is outside the jumbos, like I said, on live bunker and, of course, trolling as well. In fact, I had a buddy, Jeff Merrill, who was out, left Manasquan earlier this week, and he headed north as well to troll with those bunker spoons. Had some good luck. Also got a thresher shark. Hearing more about that. I didn't see any threshers this week. I don't know if they're still around, but watch out for that. I've heard of more thresher sharks being caught on the Tony Maja spoons this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody starts reporting some of those sickle tails going through those thick bunker schools at some point. But again, now we move down into the central and southern part of the state. These fish are coming from the east and the north, so they're just not, those big fish just aren't here yet. But I would assume they're coming, right? And especially after this moon, so I think we're getting into that time where it's time to start sharpening your pencils in advance of what I hope will be a really good fall run. We are getting a few fish in the Central Jersey surf for those guys who are putting in their time. Some soaking clams, maybe the bunker chunks, mullet, while it's still around. Some of the tins, of course. And the guys working the night shift are especially having the better luck. If you're able to get out during those dark hours, plan yourself around the tide. Down into LBI, the 66th annual Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Classic is going on. They do have a couple of slot stripers weighed in for that tournament, but they did something unique this year and they added kingfish to make up for any of the lost days, and that's been phenomenal still. Still getting a bunch of kingfish weighed in that tournament. A tip for you, if you're catching some kingfish, save some of those kingfish heads, soak them for striped bass. I expect some things to change down there in Southern Ocean County and those LBI beaches after Halloween, after this next moon. Some fish in and around Brigantine, Absecon, Atlantic City, getting more reports from down in that area. And again, like we talked about last week, a lot of the folks that are fishing in the back for some of those stripers, catching stripers with sea lice. So they look like silvery ocean run fish. So again, we're getting some more of those migratory arrivals. Steve Vitkow let me know this week that he was on them in back behind Atlantic City, top waters at dead low tide. He was throwing top waters in 1.5 foot of water and catching some fish. Topwater poppers. The Huber boys, Dennis and Tommy, they tell me fishing behind Brigantine, they've had one of the best years in recent memory working the night shift back there. Although Dennis did call me this week to find out about the striper trip, and it sounds like he's trailering north to get in on that bite. If you're in Atlantic and Cape May County and you want to trailer up to Monmouth County to get in on that bite, my advice again is to pick up the Fisherman magazine. We have a full advertising lineup in the middle of the magazine. You can call some of those marinas or tackle shops. Try calling Atlantic Highlands Municipal Harbor Marina. See what their deal is on launching a ramp. You might even be able to find a temporary slip rental up in that area as well. I do hear from some of the sedge walkers and night stalkers. They're catching some stripers on the graveyard shift. Chris Madison said he's been deep in the weeds this week, working non-human hours, throwing 4.5-inch Northeast Jig Company paddle tails down there in South Jersey along the sod banks. So that's good to hear as well. But patience is probably my best advice for guys waiting for that migratory run in Atlantic and Cape May County. Hopefully this is the year when those big stripers that are now moving down into Monmouth and Ocean County don't hit Barnegat and go southeast. Instead, maybe the bunker will bring them in close. We're hoping for a good season. But again, if you're thinking about trailering to get in on that trophy bite, there are some options for you to travel as well. Speaking of travel, let's travel west. We'll cover some more salty options in just a moment, but first we'll spend 90 seconds with my friend George, the Pocono Outdoors guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, fall fishing is its absolute peak right now. It's going really strong. The trout bite is really leading it off. I still have guys checking in each week with some really great trout. Let's check out this week. We have Jen Wong checked in with a beautiful rainbow he got over in New Jersey. Same with Justin Lerner. He checked in again with a beautiful brown trout. So the trout in Jersey are certainly on fire. Now, over here in Pennsylvania, Rich Bates decided to get another trout, another beautiful PA brown out of the Wallenpaupack. So great job there, guys. Now also, I don't want to forget the Delaware River. You know, we had some rain, the river water's coming up again, so the fishing is starting to get good. Rick Hennifer checked in with a beautiful Delaware River smallmouth. So we catch fish like this, I'm going to be hitting the Delaware this weekend. Also, right here at the lake, Debbie Perez checked in with another beautiful smallmouth too. So fishing's on fire, guys, no matter where you're going. And some good news, finally, I am getting reports of stripers. Yes, here at Beltsville, up at Wallenpaupack. Guys are starting to really get on them. Hey, good friend Will Groper checked in with a Wallenpaupack striper, and you can see here he was just releasing this beautiful fish. Lots of fish to be had. Now, one thing I want to point out, guys, this Sunday, November 1st, PFDs are required on all boats 16 feet and under. That means all your little bass boats, all your kayaks, all your canoes, you got to wear that PFD. And it's just be good to be safe. You know, we don't want the worst to happen when you're out enjoying a great day on the water. So guys, get out, be safe, get out and get on them. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Keep in mind that jetty, sod bank, bridge piling, tog action continues along the Jersey coast. It's keeping a lot of folks quite happy throughout the month of October. That bag limit increase will not happen in Jersey on tog until November 16th. That's when you're going to find a lot of the boats that are dedicated to togging. But for now, you can still work those jetties, some crabs on a crab jig, maybe a Belmar rig. But James McIntyre let me know, he saw my challenge recently where I said, don't just watch the reports, make the reports. James got out on the Manasquan Inlet rocks, got himself a nice keeper blackfish to show for his work. Again, some of those greenies, the Asian crabs, the fiddlers, good opportunity for you, even work in the canal, or again, some of those jetty rocks, especially if you get down into Cape May County, because some of those red drum might pick up on some of those jigs as well, those crabs. Michael Sagowski said he had a slow weekend, however, in Grassy Sound. They had a few blackfish, mostly smalls, but he said this photo of his buddy Dave with a striper back there in Grassy Sound was probably one of the best signs of life that they had fishing down there. Of course, we had sheepshead down there in that vicinity for most of the summer. Not getting any reports there, but we should soon find out about some of those speckled trout. We covered that in the October edition of the Fisherman magazine. Frank Rosinski is one of our resident trout experts. I'll be checking in with him soon to see if he's got anything to report. But again, November of 2019 was phenomenal down in Cape May County on those speckled trout, some reds as well. But maybe the pink zooms, the pink finesse, some of those tsunami paddle tails, or the split tails as well. But I'm hoping to find out more about those speckled trout soon from those tight-lipped anglers that don't really talk about it much. Don't forget, too, we are getting November 1st, right? We enter November. It's the best time of year for fishing at the Jersey Shore. But November 1st is when our bag limit increases, too. This Sunday, black sea bass goes up to 15 fish at 13 inches. So if you're looking to get in on the biscuits, the humpbacks, book your trips, because I know those boats are under different reservations now. A lot more fishermen are getting involved this season because of the pandemic. So make sure you call a boat, get in on that. Pick up the November edition of the Fisherman magazine for a list of the boats that are sailing throughout the state of New Jersey, getting in on some of those black sea bass. When you're on one of those party boats too, dig into your pocket, throw out a couple of bucks to get in on that pool. It's usually a slammer pool, and all it takes is one fish to get that party boat pool. Speaking of pools, surfcasters too can get into a pool, but you got to compete, right? The second annual American Angler Classic will be held this Sunday, November 1st, Seaside Park. $2,500 in prizes, retail prizes, are being awarded. Now, you may have lost out on the opportunity to get a buggy permit, but if you want to do some walk-on and participate in that tournament, you still have the opportunity to do so. The second annual American Angler Classic is this Sunday, November 1st. You can stop into one of the participating tackle shops. You want some more information on that? Stop in to see Dennis at Hook House in Toms River, or Grumpy's or Betty and Nick's in Seaside. Or visit AmericanAnglerUS.com. The November edition of the Fisherman magazine is out. Hope you pick it up. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, drop me a line as you're catching some of these fish. Give me a report. I need it. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear from you as opposed to the dumping dog. Drop me an email, jhutchinson@thefisherman.com. Follow me on Instagram at Jim Hutchinson Jr. at Instagram, and all that good stuff. Share with me so I can share with you next week when we revisit these fishing conditions again right here at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.